So you may remember from some of our other videos and tours and stuff of talks about stuff we want to do. We've had this section of our wind fencing here on the north side of our property. That's coming apart. So it's the exact same boards I need to fill in all the gaps on the chicken run, as well as the rest of the corral system here that we want to shore up. But we're thinking for this, we can sacrifice this section here because there's plenty of other fencing and walling around here. But as far as the prevailing winds, most of them are coming from that way. And then occasionally it's coming from this direction here, which is where this fence would block from, but nowhere near as much as our winds coming from the direction down here. So it'd be more important for any animals or anything we have to get shelter in other places from winds going that direction than from this direction, because they also have a big hill they can hide down over here. And giving up, this section that's collapsing and useless anyway, will give me the materials I need to cheaply and easily fix this fence. It's been here for a long time, and it's mostly held on by wire, as all the brackets have actually fallen and been broken off the boards, the main support boards that are here. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to undo some wires, let it fall over, and start ripping it apart. So here we are on the inside. As you can see, it's all just wired on because most of the brackets look like this. And that's just due to years of them being used by cows. Because if you haven't noticed, if you've never dealt with them, you leave cows alone long enough, especially through spring, they like to scratch and rub on stuff. And they're very big creatures capable of mass destruction if you leave them to it. So this is all the stuff I got to get undone. And all in all, it should go fairly quickly. I might actually just go and get my cutters and just cut the wires, and I think it'll be worth the time to do that. Alright, so now it's on the ground, and it's just a matter of prying the boards off the nails and getting myself some building material. So now it's to roll into doing that. So I've made good progress on this section of fence. So this whole first area from the gate all the way up to the corner here has been cleaned up. I've pulled nails and separated boards. I've got some good usable boards, some kind of broken boards. I've got some really rotted and unusable boards I didn't bother pulling nails out of, as well as a whole bunch of other ones. So we're off to a good start here to get stuff. I may already have enough to do the chickens side and get all those gaps closed up, but I've still got more we got to do around the rest of the circle here, which will lead me to this nightmare. I'm not sure how many of those are going to be very usable. This is the section that was folded over and kind of half hanging off the wall, so they're fairly bent and broken through here, but I'm pretty sure I can salvage something out of it. It's just time consuming and it's getting hot, but I thought I'd just stop the hyperlapse for a bit here and just show the actual progress of what we've gotten done here. So this is what I've still got to separate. As you can see, they're not all that straight because they've been hanging there for quite a while. But this section here, where it's all kind of ragged and gross, looks a lot better. So this the plan for all of this is to have our pigs out in the pasture here. And this fence is definitely enough for that. Especially we're going to run some electrical wire on the inside. And it should hopefully make it, goat and pig proof without too much hassle. So that's a future project for this area to get the pigs out. So we're going to do kind of the entire exterior of the corral system all the way around. You see where the fence is down over the hill there, along that fence, and all the way back up to the barn, which is over here. So that's kind of the plan for the piggies, especially as we've got the breeding sets will be here in about a month for us here. They'll be ready to come home, and if we look to do something else as well, expand our pig operation a little bit more, we're exploring that as well. Maybe get some other breeds that grow a little quicker, that sort of thing. We're not sure. We might do it, we might not. But anyway, so this is a big chunk for all those pigs. Something the size of which, all within these metal fences here, we can have about 40, which would be fantastic. And as we get rid of, and keep the cows out, all that poop that's, especially if you see back there through the gates where it's still fairly brown, that's mostly cow poo. Although the chickens are making good progress on it, and we're seeing lots of green grass coming up where they're adventuring and scritching it around. So that's fantastic. Anyway, so that's some good progress on this, and I'll just keep on moving, tearing this apart. And I don't know if I'll get putting up new fence today. Maybe not, but we'll keep moving along and keep trucking and try to get that chicken run as closed up as possible. Hey, so it's actually been, a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks since I started filming this video, because we've just been busy with stuff. And one of the big things is I'm in the chicken run right now, and you'll remember there was a hole in this section of fence, but it wasn't that bad. So what happened was, like I said, one of the worries we had was, we've got all this green growing grass back here, and we had a bunch of bulls on our property. And of course, it was a hole big enough for a bull to stick his head through. And once he gets his head through, it's really easy for him just to walk forward. And that's exactly what happened. So, we'll show a picture of what I found that evening as Harrison and I came up to, do our evening chores and shut down the barn. And I just happened to stick my head around, and what I saw was this right here. A big ass bull who had just walked through my fence. Now, granted, a lot of these cross boards, like a lot of these support boards here, they were all rotted anyway. Like, they were already broken in many places. Like, there's I think 2 solid ones through here, but all the rest were pretty much done and broken, and I needed to replace them. And I had been, fixing up all the holes just down this way. As you see, it's all closed in now, along this section here. And I'd been here just, a couple hours earlier closing them up. And this was the last big hole left. And yeah, it's frustrating as heck. Stupid bull breaking all my stuff. And this is in a section where, up the top there, I can't close the gate to completely close this in anymore because we've moved the panels in the way. And just the support on the panels make it so I can't close the gate properly, which means I can't keep the bull in. So that's why I've got, there's a metal panel there wired across the gate now. And anyway, so it's coming to that time of year where where the neighbors who I've been working with, whose bulls were here, it was time to start processing their calves and getting them out on pasture. And so we've been busy with that, over the Canadian May long weekend here, getting most of them taken care of and sorted and numbered and recorded and sent out to pasture, which is again another reason why we haven't been doing a lot of this. And then we got that done, and then one morning I was out here just ripping some boards off to fix our wooden fence over by our 3-acre field on the northeast side of our property here, because again it's full of bullhead size holes where they'll end up just walking through the wood fence and then being out in another field without a secure fence around it. And so I'm pulling a board off, and I walk it over, and I come back to get another one off a section that we're tearing down here. and I see out, I'll walk over where you can see what I'm talking about. So in the fields, you know, the grain fields next to us here, I see out there, I see at first glance it's 6 bulls, and then it's 8, and then it's 10, because down, let me see if I can get a good angle of it here. If you can see those sheds down there, right behind those sheds, one shed of which has been completely destroyed by the bulls again, because they like to scratch on things and they like to get those things moving, and those sheds don't take bull weight and movement very well, and it's now falling apart. Anyway, they had knocked over a couple of the fence posts. They didn't even break the fence posts. They just scrubbed up against them, and it got pulled right out of the ground, and they were all out. You know, we had 17 bulls total on the property, and 11 of them made their way across that field, because in the fields over yonder, right across the road from our property, that's where some of those cows and calves are. And it's that time of year, as the cows who have birthed the calves, you know, a couple of months ago now, are starting to come open, and the bulls want to be there. So we had some fun on ATVs, one with buckets full of grain on it to, you know, catch their attention, and me on another one to make sure they kept going the same direction and chasing at the tail, getting them back across the fields, out onto the road and out to the gate that on our property from that road, and get them back in and locked up in the pens overnight, so that they could you know, not break free, and we could transport them off the property and somewhere else, so they stopped breaking my stuff. So anyway, we've been dealing with all of that, and now it's time to get back to, you know, Pike Homestead stuff. You know, like we went around with my neighbor and pounded a bunch of posts into fences and stuff that were no longer secure, and so I've got some work to do, getting some wiring redone and everything, and maybe I'll video that and show you how you properly, you know, tighten up and maintain and even set up. We got a new fence set up, or started to set up here at the front of the barn, just as, you know, to fit our usage of the property a little better. Anyway, so I'll do a video on that in the near future. But anyway, we were talking about doing our chicken run here and getting this closed up, and why I haven't done it, because it's been, like I said, it's been almost 2 weeks since I started tearing that fence over there up to get some material to close this. So anyway, we had that bastard break through here, and then I just quickly went through that night, and I was out here till probably about, you know, till it was dark, so probably about 9:30 at night, just closing up every other gap on this fence so that they're not breaking through here where they can get loose. For all the good it did, as they found other places to get loose from. Anyway, they're gone now, and I've got some wire fences I need to fix up and tighten up so we can have some cow and calf pairs here grazing. But first we want to get our chickens sorted, because once we get the chickens sorted and locked up, then we can start running our electrical wire to get our goats and pigs out in a wider area and grazing. So it's just one thing after the other here, and it's been a little frustrating. And on top of that, if you've seen Caroline's recent video, she also got let go from her job. And that brings us to a whole point as to why we do this, and why we chose to live this life, is so that we can be less reliant on big, nameless, soulless corporations who don't actually look after the people that make them work. You know, there was no actual valid reason for Caroline to be let go other than profit for shareholders. Shareholders who don't do actual work for the company other than supply money and want a slightly bigger profit. The company had already posted profits for the quarter and for the year, actually. But they wanted to make a little bit more and bump those stock prices up a little bit more, so these nameless people who have no other part in the company other than money, to make a little bit more for doing sweet F all. And this just, it pisses me off that this is what our world has come to. Where it's nameless corporations who have no soul, who have no spirit, who give no F all for the 3,000 people that were fired just from that company that day. There were people who were hired for a reason. There were people who had a reason for being there and who were doing good input and making it better. And they were let go because they're no longer in a growth mode. They're now a corporation mode. And they have to give money back to the stockholders. And it affects negatively 3,000 people from one company that day, to say nothing of the other tech people and industries who have been letting people go at Google and Facebook and all this other, flooding the market with people in that field looking for jobs all of a sudden because shareholders want to get a little bit more. Well, our world is broken. That isn't a way to do good business. Because good business is having good people, and good people making money so they can spend good money at your good business. And if you're not doing good business, if you're in for profit, as much profit right now as you can possibly get the fuck out. Because it's short-term gain, long-term ruin. And it's negatively affected us now for no reason. Laid off, no reason given. You have to be able to, stand on your own 2 feet and look out for yourself and your neighbor. And that's the way to live life. Be in your small community. It doesn't have to be goddamn global. It has to be what's good for right here, right now with your family. And if you can live that way, absolutely do it. Take the risk. We did, and we don't regret it. It's going to be a lot harder for the immediate future. But we're going to keep doing it. I mean, we're here. We've staked our claim and we're going to stand on it because these big corporations aren't going to look out for you. They're not going to look out for themselves even. They're going to look out for their shareholders who don't give a goddamn other than the money in their pocket that comes from that company and those shares. It is a broken, soulless system, and it's something that should be unacceptable to most people. And if you can't look those people in the eye and tell them they're fired, then you shouldn't be firing them. And it's a soulless email, and that's it. There's no face-to-face, nothing like that. And it's a bunch of cowards running those companies. When we ran our own company and we let people go, we did it to their face. Right? Because you have to explain why and say this is why, and we can't keep you here because this isn't working out, and here's the XYZ of why, and we'll give you a reference, and be good about it, right? I mean, I've been in that position, not at a mass scale like this, because again, it's faceless and it's easy and it's the click of a button, and the CEOs and people running these companies, you shouldn't be able to sleep at night. Anyway, but so for you and me, the average Joe, that means, we've got to be able to look out for ourselves. And we've got to be able to feed ourselves, because the more we're reliant on these systems and these companies, the more soulless and empty our lives are. And my life is much better, much more fulfilling, and much more enjoyable by and large with people and doing this sort of work, making, basically food. And I'm glad to be a part of it and be a part with the community that we've found ourselves in here. And if you can, do it. If you're thinking about it and you want to do it, it's hard, yeah, but it's worth it. Anyway, I'm going to get working on getting some braces put up and getting some boards put back up on this fence that was broken, and maybe work a little my anger with a hammer. So anyway, why don't you come along with us and do us a big favor. We're in need right now. Tell your friends, tell your family, like and subscribe, hit those follow buttons, get on it and help us grow our channel here, and help us continue to live this dream, because if you can't, we can for you. And if you can, then we can help teach you how to do it. So be sure to like and subscribe down below, and I'll keep working on this here. So here we go, just looking for some boards that'll be long enough to kind of span the gap to support the rest of the fence going through the shrapnel. So this here was another section. There were fence boards going from, you know, this post here back to the post here at the gate, and the same on the other side. And this is also what the bulls did, because in this time of year they get fairly itchy, and so they're looking to scratch and everything. And like, these weren't perfect, there were broken boards and stuff in them, but they're, you know, they had at least 2 good boards on each one, and they are gone. So the cost of looking after animals, hey? All right, so I'm gonna have to go search a little further for another board for this. So I will do that and we'll get back to work. So the wind just decided to really gust up and just knock the camera over, as well as one of the boards onto me. It's a bit of a scrape, nothing much, but anyway, yeah, I think weather might be turning, possibly. Yeah, we got some cloud coming in and some heavy wind, so I'm just going to keep trucking along here and try to get this done. Probably gonna have to find some more boards, but I'll go as far as I can here, and we'll just see what we get to, and hopefully my camera doesn't get blown over again. All right, so my supplies are running low, so is my blood sugar, so it's meal time. So I think for this one, you get the idea on what we're doing. We'll continue working on this, but for today it's time to go for dinner. And yeah, anyway, thank you guys for your time. Thank you so much for your support. We do really appreciate it. Help us grow our channel as we live our life out here. Right now on the ragged edge of financial ruin. So, you know, it's going to be good stuff. Anyway, yeah, follow us along. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your neighbors, tell everybody. Get them to click like and subscribe down below. And help us grow here. We could really use it at this point in our journey. We really need the support and everything like that. So be sure to follow along, and you'll see the results of all my hard work here. And as our chicken flock grows, and as our pigs grow, and as our goat herd grows, and all the adventures and stuff we're learning to support ourselves, so we don't need to have those jobs outside of the homestead. So, you know, hit us up and follow along and let us know what you think. We really appreciate it. We could really use the support. Anyway, so thank you for your time today, and you know, let us know what you think on how we're doing here, and what would you do different, or things that you'd suggest, because this is still wide open, and I've got lots of stuff that I got to still put in to make it work. So I'm open to suggestions. What would you like to see? If it's awesome and cool, we'll put it in and build it for you so you can see if it works. Anyway, so hope you enjoyed your time with me today, and thank you so much, and we will see you next time. I'm going for dinner.